Hey there, thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at 3 ways to teach empathy to our children using children's literature. This is an important skill because when our children learn about empathy, they start to see that the world is so different and that we must respond to different circumstances with care because people have varied feelings that are not the same as our own. Now, it's important to teach our kids this because it can help prevent so many different issues like bullying and racism, misunderstanding or, miscommunication, or even just being ill-informed about mental health issues or having poor moral reasoning. We are able to mitigate these circumstances. We are able to help prevent a lot of this from taking place. So, when our kids understand these lessons better, when we implement this into our classroom, we're also helping our children develop their literacy skills, their artistic skills, their social, their emotional, and their equity skills. So there's so many wonderful things to teaching empathy using children's literature. So let's get right into it. The first strategy I like to call culture and experience. So here I would love for you to choose a book that is culturally appropriate, because it allows our kids to be able to understand each other's cultures and experiences, because we get to see all the different experiences that different cultures might go through, right? So when kids are able to understand this, they're able to not just tolerate one another, but they get a better way of accepting and understanding each other. And that's really what we want to go for. Acceptance over tolerance. So culture and experience is the first. The second is to look, once you've chosen your book, to look at perspective, empathy, mapping. Now this is, a lot right there in the title, but what you're going to do here is you're going to take some of the emotions, you're going to let your children choose the emotions that they've found in the book, or if they're struggling with it, or especially if they're younger children, you might choose some of the emotions and give it to different kids to work on. And what they're going to do is they're going to look at what would they think, feel, do if they were actually feeling that emotion. And if it's too difficult for them to put themselves in that situation, they could imagine that their friend is going through it. You could also do it as a twofold lesson. So the first lesson is about them going through it, and the second lesson is about a friend going through it, because you're now teaching them how to understand different perspectives, right? So this allows them to really understand, like I said before, different feelings, different emotions, what other people would do in a very similar circumstance, because people respond to circumstances in very different ways based on their emotions. So this would be a great way of understanding that. The third scenario is to take the same concept from before. We're going to build on this now, is dramatize the feelings. So here, for young children, you might use puppets, but for older ones, they're using their full body and they're actually going to participate. So what you'll do here is you're going to give your kids different scenarios, or you can use the feelings that we've talked about in step number 2, and you're going to give it to them, and they're going to get into groups and they're going to act out those feelings. They might come up with a scenario of their own and act out those specific feelings that you have asked them to act out. And then when you've given them time to practice, they can either show it in a full class setting or in a small group setting. After that, you can actually lead a discussion about different scenarios, how people would react to different scenarios, how different people would feel in these different situations. And it allows children to have a much deeper understanding of the literature, but also about empathy. Because then when you go and ask them, if they get into a fight, how do you think this person felt? How do you think you felt? They are better able and better equipped to answer these questions. Does that make sense? So here, let's go through it again. Let's recap really quickly. We talked about the importance of teaching empathy, especially using children's literature. We've looked at 3 different ways that you can do that. Number 1 is culture and experience. You're going to choose a book based on that. Second is perspective, empathy, mapping. So that's the first activity you would be doing when you choose and read this book. The third situation is You are going to dramatize a feeling. So this is the second activity you would be doing once you've read the book. Okay? And if you have any questions, please feel free to send me a message. In the meantime, remember to create, experience, and teach from the heart. I will see you again, same place, same time next week. Take care, my friends. Bye.